Hello everybody and welcome to Snetterton. Now we're here for the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, and boy oh boy do we have a treat in store for you today. Now it's almost time for the first race of the weekend, but before we head out onto the track, I caught up with some of the drivers. Now they talk us through qualifying. Well done, by the way.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that time, yeah. I just went out there and did what I had to do, so saw 2:2 pop up and I knew that was quite good, so happy with that.
I've mentioned this a lot over the weekend, the two straights here at Snetterton. I assume they suit these quite well, do they?
Yeah, but when the Sierra Cosworth admits to having more power than me, and the Skyline's got a lot more power than me, it's a bit more than just the corners.
Yes.
It's a bit more than just the straight, it's everything.
Absolutely. David, quite a busy man actually, because it's not just the Thunder and Bosch you're doing, is it?
No, we're in pre-93 for which is just about to go out now, so we're in that one as well, and we're on pole for that this morning, so just got to concentrate on getting the different spec of the car right first up and then getting it changed in time for Thunder.
Is there a difference between the series then? I mean, or is it just, look, it's a racing track, I'm just going to drive the same way?
No, it's really different. So we run it on slicks for Thunder, we run it on treaded tyres for pre-93, the car's heavier for pre-93, and the track changes so much throughout the day that you really have to adapt.
First up on track in the sunshine of Snetterton today, the pre-93 and pre-2003 Touring Car Championships running in together. David Griffin with the Diet Coke BMW is on pole alongside Stephen Pearson with his similar BMW M3, and it's Pearson who makes the start. AJ Owen with the Honda Civic, the best qualifier in the pre-2003 Championship, third on the grid. He hasn't made the best of starts though. The rear-wheel drive BMWs get away. Number 90 Ian Bauer up into second place off the line from fourth on the grid. Nice variety of cars, just under 20 cars out there for this first 15-minute race of the day, and it is Stephen Pearson who leads the way into Wilson's hairpin for the first time. Side by side for second, Ian Bauer and David Griffin, then it's AJ Owen, a couple more BMWs behind. So we've got David Howard with the big Jaguar, a few Honda Civics back in the pre-03 field. There's Steve Barber just behind the older BMW, that's Andy Sheraton in the Laser Tools liveried car. Laser Tools, the sponsors of the pre-93 Championship. Simply Serviced, you can see on Simon Beeman's Escort there, the sponsors of the pre-03s, as he attacks David Nixon, the points leader overall in the pre-93s. Two championships mixed in together. It is a class-based championship, big lock-up there for Steve Barber, raced variously in a Ford Anglia and a Renault Clio in the past with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. Here's the battle for second place. Ian Bauer, number 90, a former pre-93 champion, under fire from David Griffin in the Diet Coke car, who goes through. The Australian-born driver, that car a replica of the BMWs that raced in the Australian Touring Car Championship in the 1990s. Simon Beeman's green and white Escort goes through there. The RS2000 Maxi, famous as a rally car circuit racer. There's AJ Owen in fourth overall in the red Honda Civic, the leader of the pre-03 Championship. He's won the title a couple of times in the past as well. A bit squirrely there through the right-hander at Nelson. That's Stephen Pearson, our race leader. BMWs 1, 2 and 3. Another couple of BMWs behind AJ Owen. That's Andy Cripps in the green car. Mike Dugdale behind him. Then we've got David Howard in the Jaguar XJ12. Then Beeman's, the two Rover Tomcat turbos. David Nixon ahead of Kaylee Twigger. Further back in the order, the big Jaguar XJ40 in the Castrol livery there. That's Michael Seaborn. Races in the Jaguar Saloon Championship as well. David Griffin now catching Stephen Pearson for the lead. He's going to have a look this time as they come down towards Coram. Pearson, very experienced BMW racer, holds him off. Races in the Project 8 Saloon series in the past as well. David Griffin, busy man this weekend, racing in a couple of the championships on show here at Snetterton with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. Tries to go around the outside there on the exit of Murray's Corner. He's going to try and draw alongside Stephen Pearson and be on the inside for the right-hander heading into Riches, the first corner of the lap. Side by side as they go over the line, nothing in it between the two BMWs that time through. There's a yellow flag though as they head down towards Riches. Side by side, Griffin goes up the inside. There's a car off on the outside. I think that's Steve Barber, and I think the safety car is coming out. Yes, we've got yellow flags around the circuit. The safety car is coming out. So Griffin lets Pearson go back ahead. It is Steve Barber that's gone off at Riches in his Honda Civic number 114. Marshall's in attendance. The safety car has picked up AJ Owen at the moment. They'll get them into order with the leaders at the front of the pack. The safety car now pulls in. The hazard has been cleared by the excellent marshalling team here at Snetterton, and we are back underway with Stephen Pearson in the lead ahead of David Griffin. AJ Owen continues to lead the pre-2003 Touring Car Championship contingent, sponsored by Simply Serviced. In the Laser Tools pre-93s, it's Pearson and Griffin who fight it out. Owen third overall, then Andy Cripps in the green BMW. Mike Dugdale is fifth overall, then David Howard in the number 55 Jaguar, leading Class A of the pre-93s here. Just a short sprint for the line now after that safety car. David Griffin angling for the lead of the race here. They head down towards Agostini Corner, named after the great Giacomo Agostini, the legendary motorcycle world champion. Side by side on the exit, Griffin trying to go around the outside, trying to stay alongside Stephen Pearson as they head up towards Hamilton's and Oggy's. He just pulls straight ahead on power alone there of Stephen Pearson. Moved by David Griffin. We noticed on the infield there Ian Bauer's car out of the race. They head up through the right-hander at Oggy's up towards Williams Corner and then into the Bentley Straights. Plenty of opportunity for slipstreaming here. Mike Dugdale's got through for fourth place in his BMW ahead of Andy Cripps. Then it's David Howard, and then the two Rovers, David Nixon, the pre-93 points leader, ahead of Kaylee Twigger, heading in Class C. Simon Beeman's hit problems, his escort slowing down. He's going to be lapped by the leaders. Still leading his class in pre-03, so keeping going for championship points here. It's looking good for David Griffin, a good move on Stephen Pearson to take the lead, and looks like he's heading for victory. Fourth and fifth place, Mike Dugdale in the number 51 ahead of Andy Cripps, both regulars at Brands Hatch in Kent over the years. Lapping the struggling Simon Beeman, he'll try and keep going for a class win. Looks like it's going to be an overall win for David Griffin, the Australian, in the number 34 Diet Coke BMW. Staying clear of Stephen Pearson. The checkered flag is at the ready. David Griffin comes in to win it. Stephen Pearson will be second. AJ Owen will win the pre-03 touring car split in third overall. He wins Class B of the pre-03s. Andy Cripps heads home Mike Dugdale. David Howard wins his class in sixth. David Nixon will head home Kaylee Twigger to win their class. Michael Seaborn in the Jaguar next in the order. And then Andy Sheraton with the Laser Tools liveried BMW ahead of Andrew Smith in his Honda Civic. Griffin the winner by 0.6 of a second ahead of Stephen Pearson. AJ Owen the pre-03 winner in third overall. Cripps just ahead of Dugdale. Howard a class winning sixth ahead of Nixon and Twigger, with Seaborn and Sheraton completing the top 10. 14 cars went the distance in that one. Fastest lap went to David Griffin.
We just spoke to you about half an hour ago. Job done!
Man, it's always good to get a pole, but then you're always thinking, man, I hope I can convert this, and I haven't got a great conversion rate. So I was kind of third, I think, off the start, and I was thinking, oh man, I hope there's not a safety car. And there was, but I wasn't the cause of it, so that was good. And managed to clear Stephen on that last lap, which was always going to be a bit frenetic around the outside action.
The power of you boys coming down that centre straight is something to behold, isn't it? Puts you in a good stead for this second race as well. Confident?
Yeah, the car felt good, it's got a nice balance. The boys at West Suffolk Racing do a great job, so we'll go and prep it now for Thunder.
Rolling start coming up for the classic Thunder Saloon Championship, combined with the Blue Oval Saloon Series. Next up, Andy Robinson in his mighty Ford Falcon on pole, alongside Dan Brown in his Sierra Cosworth. Big Holden Monaro of Andy Wilson in third place. They head into Riches for the first time. Fastest qualifier of the Blue Oval Saloons for everything Ford is Piers Grange in his modified Mark II Escort a little further back. Terrific variety in this field. Some very impressive, very powerful and very loud cars indeed in this field. It's Andy Robinson, the man from the northeast, who leads the way in the Ford Falcon, the big Aussie beast, as they file their way through the hairpin for the first time. Blue Oval Saloon runners further back, led by Piers Grange in his Mark II Escort. There's Ben Dewan, the green car there, his beautiful BMW. David Griffin's out in this one as well, with the BMW, and Stephen Pearson alongside Colin Voice there in the number 121, the Castrol Escorts. Steve Waterman's little Toyota Starlet in there. It's Robinson who leads from Brown, Wilson, Griffin. There's Piers Grange, the silver car with the pink sign writing, the boss of PRG Trailers. PRG Trailers will have brought many of these cars to the circuit today. Tony Palmer's Escort side by side with Ben Dewan. Tom Martin's Ford Fiesta in behind them. It is Andy Robinson in his big Aussie Leviathan, who leads the way. Stephen Pearson making a move on the rotary engine Mazda RX-8 of long-time racer Clive Hainsford there. Behind them, Sean Brown with his Mark 1 Escort, and Steve Dance, the ex-pickup and short oval racer, with his stunning Mark 1 Capri. Wonderful cars in this field, as you can see. Jim Janicki had problems in qualifying. The Nissan Skyline blitzing past everybody. Sheer straight line speed there down the Bentley Straight. But it's Andy Robinson who leads. He owns a couple of these Aussie V8 supercars. Andy Wilson third in his Holden Monaro. Then Griffin, Paul Hand in the Audi TT. And Janicki, already from the 7th row of the grid, is up into 6th place. Clive Hainsford chasing our Blue Oval Saloon leader. Piers Grange, the former champion in the Blue Oval Saloon category. And there's Steve Waterman, the little Toyota Starlet behind them, very reminiscent of the short oval national hot rods of years gone by, that Toyota. I believe Andy Wilson's raced that car in the past as well. Clive Hainsford in the rotary Mazda, attacking the Escort of Piers Grange. There's Steve Dance's Capri ahead of Stephen Pearson's BMW. Andy Robinson still your overall leader. Piers Grange leads the Blue Oval Saloon split ahead of Martin Reynolds with his Mark 1 Escorts. Another man having a busy weekend in his fleet of classic Fords. Just catch a glimpse of his yellow car there in the background. The battle continues to rage between Clive Hainsford, former special saloon racer among other things, and Piers Grange. Steve Waterman hanging on behind them. These the most powerful cars, the Classic Thunder Saloons, run by the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, incorporating the Burton Power sponsored Blue Oval Saloon Series, BOSS for short. Here's a couple of Mark 1 Escorts. Tony Palmer, number 1, ahead of Colin Claxton, number 86, with his Mark 1 Escorts. Tony Palmer running in Classic Thunder, leading his class, and Colin Claxton leading his class in the Blue Oval Championship. So they may both be Mark 1 Escorts, but very different under the skin. Ben Dewan's lovely old BMW 323 behind them, the number 21 car. Here's our leader, Andy Robinson, in the number 100 Ford Falcon V8 supercar, 5 litres of V8 power. Raced in the Aussie Championship in the past, the biggest form of motorsport in Australia, V8 supercars of course. This car liveried in the colours of the great Craig Lowndes, a multiple champion in that division, a Bathurst 1000 winner as well, Australia's great race. Here's Sean Brown in his Mark 1 Escorts. There's Steve Dance in the Capri. Run that in several different touring car championships over the last couple of years. Robinson in the clear in the number 100 ahead of Dan Brown, brother of Sean, in the Ford Sierra Cosworth RS500. The Brown family have raced their classic Fords all over Europe in the last few years. Robinson is not going to be caught here. There's Clive Hainsford holding on for the Japanese machinery. Unfortunately, Jim Janicki's Skyline, after its early pace, has dropped out. They are fast but fragile, a lot of these classic Thunder Saloons. Piers Grange still leading the Blue Oval split a bit further back. Clive Hainsford now ahead of Colin Voice in the Voice Tune Castrol liveried Escorts, going well despite an off in qualifying yesterday. As the leader comes up to lap the BMW there of Frank Rodber. There's a yellow flag there at Williams Corner. Someone has come to grief. Try and work out who that is. I just caught a glimpse of it there on the inside. It's Steve Waterman, unfortunately, that's pulled up in the Toyota Starlets. We've lost Andy Wilson as well. He has pulled off, and another car there off on the left of the picture. I think that's Tom Abbott's Ford Capri. Well, those cars will have to go from the back of the grid in race 2. He's the leader, laps Ricky Cann in his V8 Aston Martin. Of course, the grids for race 2 for each category based on the results of race 1. So I might see a few potent runners that have failed to finish this one, starting from the back in race 2, including Andy Wilson's Holden Monaro if he makes it back out. It's going to be a win for Andy Robinson, though, the man from the northeast of England. Owns a couple of these V8 supercars, along with quite a fleet of V8 engine machinery. He's going to rumble his way towards the checkered flag in this super sounding Ford Falcon. Checkered flag at the ready, and Robinson takes a clear win. It'll be Dan Brown in the Sierra Cosworth in second. Third is going to go to, I think, David Griffin further back in the BMW. He will win his class. Further back in the order there, Sean Brown ahead of Steve Dance and Stephen Pearson. They've had a good battle in this one. First two well clear of their opposition here in this first race of the weekend for the Edmundson Electrical Classic Thunder. David Griffin takes a lonely third place in this one. He wins his class. It'll be Paul Hand in fourth place in his Audi TT. He'll win his class as well. Still the battle between Clive Hainsford and Colin Voice. This is for 8th overall. Piers Grange behind them. He's going to win the Blue Oval Saloon Series, sponsored by Burton Power. Can Colin Voice get past the RX-80? A flash of flame from the back of the Mazda. Paul Hand takes 4th in the TT. Sean Brown's Escort is 5th. Steve Dance 6th. Stephen Pearson over the line in 7th place. And then we look back to the fight between Hainsford, Voice and Grange. Martin Reynolds further back will not catch Piers Grange for the win in the Blue Oval category. Here comes Colin Voice up the outside. He's not quite going to catch Clive Hainsford. Grange wins the Blue Ovals. Good battle between the Mazda RX-8 and Colin Voice's Mark 1 Escort there. The win overall goes to Andy Robinson by 3.5 seconds ahead of Dan Brown. David Griffin taking 3rd, a long way back ahead of Paul Hand. Sean Brown in 5th in his Escort ahead of Steve Dance, Stephen Pearson, Clive Hainsford completing the top 8. 19 cars went the distance. Dan Brown got the fastest lap.
Daniel Brown was keeping you honest?
Yeah, he wasn't too far away. A couple of times I eased up a little bit, then I seen him coming. I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to... I don't mean ease up, I mean the difference between changing at 7.5 grand and changing at 7.2, so...
Look, you've got another race today as well. More of the same?
Hopefully, yeah, that's what I want.
Next up we have the pre-83 Group 1 touring cars combined with the pre-66 machines. Pole position for Stephen Primet in his Mark 1 Escort, Mike Luck in the BMW alongside him, Jonathan Lewis in his Mini, the quickest qualifier in the pre-66 split. We're underway down towards the first corner of Riches. It is Primet, the former multiple champion in this division in his Escort, who leads off from pole position. Look at the variety we have got out there in this one. There's American Beasts, Minis, Anglias, even Morris Minors towards the back. But it's Stephen Primet, the former champion, beaten to the title by Mark Osborne in his Triumph Dolomite, who's not out this weekend last season. Mark Lucock's Escort in 3rd. There's Alan Greenall, the big Ford Falcon in there. The version of the Ford Falcon we saw from Andy Robinson in the Classic Thunder. Had a couple of wins at Brands Hatch earlier this season. David Howard in his Jaguar is out there. Pre-66 is led by local man Jonathan Lewis in his Mini, and a bit of a mistake there by number 86. That's Colin Claxton with his Triumph Dolomite. Loses out to Andy Mesham, long-time Mini racer. There's Jonathan Lewis, the black Mini, on the tail of Tom Harvey's Escorts. And Greenall in the big Falcon, second of the pre-66s. We've got Minis battling behind them. There's Patrick Harris, number 1, the maroon-coloured Morris Minor. And there's even a rear-engine Skoda 110 out there from Tom Abbots. It takes all sorts in classic touring car racing. Mark Lucock with his number 18 Mark 1 Escort there in 3rd place ahead of David Howard. Jonathan Corker with his little Datsun 510, that's a rare car, up there in 5th ahead of Mark Cholerton. Qualified well on the second row of the grid, made a poor start though. Here are your leaders. Stephen Primet from Mike Luck, the ex-Clubman sports car racer. Here's an E21 320 BMW. Chasing down Stephen Primet, who's won this title many times, the pre-83 Group 1 touring cars. Working memories of British saloon car racing and touring car racing of years gone by, this club. Very friendly club to race in, great fun for everyone. The racing you're watching on. David Margulies there with his Andy Rouse lookalike Alfa Romeo GTV6, chased by Stuart Kay, the chairman of the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, in his triplex Ford Capri. It's Primet who leads, chased by Luck, Lucock, Howard, Cholerton, and Corker in the little Datsun. That's running well. 366 is still led by Jonathan Lewis in his Mini. The overall champion last year, Patrick Harris, in the Morris Minor. He's leading his class. The Jag of David Howard's power telling there, and he pulls past Mark Lucock down the straights. Alan Greenall, winner at Brands Hatch earlier this season, second of the pre-66s. There's his Ford Falcon chasing Stuart Kay in the triplex Capri. Mark Lucock at the outside on the brakes into Wilson's hairpin. He won't get round the outside of David Howard's big Jaguar XJ12 there. There's Jonathan Corker, that lovely little Datsun 510. Mini flung through four-wheel drift style. Now Stuart Kay on the tail of David Margulies in the Alfa Romeo. So the line come the leaders. Primet from, it's going to be Howard going through into second, monstering his way through the field. Qualified a little further down the grid than he wanted on row 3. Mike Luck has held him off though, the points leader in the Pre-93 Championship after the first meetings of Cadwell Park and Brands Hatch. Patrick Harris, the points leader in the Morris Minor in the Pre-66 category, has won his class in all 4 races so far. Leading Morris Minor exponent in the club was the great Tony Preston, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, many times a Pre-66 champion. There's Mark Cholerton, the building contractor from Norfolk. Made a poor start in his Mark II Escort, trying to close back up on the leaders. He's on the tail of Mark Lucock now for what is 4th place. These first 5 have pulled away from Jonathan Corker's Datsun, now in 6th position. Still Lewis from Greenall in the Pre-66 division. I think it's Kevin Bottomley's Mini in 3rd place there. Around the outside goes Mark Cholerton, trying for 4th place. 72 on Stephen Primet, former multiple champion. The man from Bedfordshire continues to lead the way. Cholerton sideways there through Nelson. He forces Mark Lucock to go wide. This is classic rear-wheel drive Escort action. Of course, the Mark II Escort, more famous as a rally car, can be quick on the circuits as well. And Mark Cholerton really throwing his RS2000 example around here. To 4th. Break from racing for a few years while he built up his building business. Back with a vengeance. Car in the pit lane there, that's Luke Wilson's Austin A40 out of the race. Early back for the Pre-66 runner. David Howard now side by side with Mike Luck. He's going to go through the second, side by side between the 2 Escorts for 4th place as well. Mike Luck late on the brakes though for Riches. That Jag does tend to have its brakes heat up very quickly. It is a big car, the XJ12. The man from Berkshire. Your leader is Stephen Privet. Mike Luck sideways there almost into Wilson's hairpin. He is really trying hard in that BMW. There's an oil flag out, the exit of Nelson, the red and yellow slippery surface flag, and Mark Cholerton I think has found the oil. They're very sideways on the run through Nelson. Mike Lucock has got through into 4th place. 2 Escorts and David Howard's had it off as well. There's oil down on the second half of the lap. The drivers are going to have to be careful. Mark Lucock getting sideways in the Escort. He's getting really sideways. Look at that. But it looks spectacular. It won't help his lap times though. Of course, the Escort, as we said, is famous as a rally car. We don't want any rallying today. It's getting very slippery out there. I wonder if it's Luke Wilson's Austin that's dropped the oil there, just being pushed away in the pit lane by the marshals. There's a lot of oil down in the second half of the lap here at Snetterton. Alan Greenall's found it as well. The Ford Falcon has spun coming through Nelson. These cars slipping and sliding everywhere, and in fact we have a red flag, the race being stopped because of the amount of oil down on the circuit. So we have a red flag. We'll get a restart, I think. Back in the order, there's Brian Bedford, number 26 in the Austin A40. He lost it on the oil, and Anton Martin in his Mark III Escort going as well. See the oil down there on the racing line. So plenty of pirouettes. Ready for a restart then. It will be just a short sprint for the line now in the order that they were running in at the time of the red flag. So David Howard has struck lucky here because he's up there on the front row of the grid alongside Stephen Privet, and he's been able to out-drag him off the line and put the Jag into the lead. Full credit to our excellent volunteer marshals here at Snetterton, who cleared up the oil very quickly. There was oil all round the circuit. I'm not sure which car it was that dropped the oil, but they've done well to clear it up very quickly. See the trail of cement dust down on the oil. Stephen Primet running wide there at the hairpin. He'll lose second to Mark Lucock's Escort. Jonathan Lewis, number 37 there in the Mini, still leading the Pre-66 splits. But it's David Howard now, the man from Berkshire, who leads overall in the XJ12. Cholerton just ahead of Tom Harvey in the number 47 Ford Escort. Problems there for the Triumph 2000. That's Max Clark pulling off at the hairpin, number 33. Battle between the Minis. This is for 3rd place in Pre-66. Kevin Bottomley on the inside there of Nathan Williams in the number 12. There's Alan Wayman, long-time racer with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club in the big Chevrolet Camaro. Behind him, Brian Bedford's Austin A40, recovering from a spin just before the red flag. It's David Howard from Mark Lucock. Primet's down to 3rd place. Then we've got Mike Luck in the orange BMW, the points leader, looking for a class win here, but he's got to catch Primet and Lucock first of all in the same class as the Escorts. In the closing stages now, David Howard still leads. Mark Mark Lucock leads his class in second place. Chollerton still getting his escorts sideways. Still Jonathan Lewis ahead in the 366s. The nimble handling of the Mini telling over Alan Greenall's brute force in his Ford Falcon, having recovered from that spin. First three have broken away slightly here. We go down towards Agostini. Stephen Primet all over the back of Lucock. He wants a class win here to get his championship challenge back on course. And there's the gap in the pre-66s. Lewis ahead of Greenall. Next in the order, David Margulies and Stuart Kay. Stuart Kay leading his class in the pre-83 championship. Coming into the closing stages now, Mark Lucock wants a win here. He's got to hold off Stephen Primet because they're in the same class. It doesn't matter about Lucock passing David Howard. It will just be for glory for the overall win, but for points in the championship, he needs to beat Stephen Primet home to win his class. So many different classes in this race, of course. Ryan Bedford's leading his class in the pre-66s, as is Anton Martin in the pre-83s and Tom Abbott in that rare Skoda. The escorts side by side as they come through Brundle there. Lucock just about stays ahead. He's going to run a bit wide on the exit though through Nelson. David Howard's got away as a result of that. Looks like he's going to take the overall win. Mike Luck in fourth place in the BMW ahead of Mark Chollerton, kicking up the dust around the final corners of this pre-83 and pre-66 touring car race. Cracking race it has been despite the red flag interruption. Lucock getting a wheel on the grass though. He's trying to get up alongside David Howard in the big Jaguar, trying to break him through the final corner. Mike Luck in there as well, holding off Mark Chollerton. This is going to be close. The escorts side by side on the run up towards the checkered flag. It's going to be a win for David Howard, but who's going to be second and win the class between the two escorts? They're side by side over the line. I don't know who got that. They'll need a photo to sort it out, I think. A photo finish between Mark Lucock and Stephen Primet. I think Lucock may have just held it, but we'll wait and confirm in a moment. Jonathan Lewis in the Mini has won the pre-66 category ahead of Alan Greenall. Stuart Kay just beats David Margulies home. My goodness, what a finish there. In the pre-83 and pre-66 touring cars, Alan Wayman finishes just outside the top 10 in his Camaro, ahead of the Minis of Bottomley Williams. Martin Reynolds next home in his Ford Anglia. Confirm the results in just a second. Win going to David Howard, and Lucock beat Primet home by 8/1000ths of a second. It doesn't get much closer than that. Luck next in the BMW ahead of Chollerton. Corker in the Datsun 6. Lewis the pre-66 winner in 7th ahead of Alan Greenall. We'll head down to the paddock and hear from Mark Lucock about that photo finish with Stephen Primet.
Oh, can you take your helmet off? It's good to see you again anyway. And you must be pretty chuffed with that, right? You managed to hold Stephen off.
I'm pretty chuffed with that, yeah. I thought if I was going to have an opportunity it would be on the restart, and just managed to make the most of it, to be honest with you. I think people, because I was 2 or 3 cars back, they've been a little bit cautious a bit further forward, first time out on the oil.
I suppose the red flag, the restart, kind of threw a bit of a curveball into mix and an advantage for yourself,
that's
really.
Right, exactly. So that's what I say, I had nothing to lose, and obviously we'd only got 2 or 3 laps to go, hadn't we? So
and you did it.
I gave it all, and here we are.
Wow, the classic touring cars have been giving us a real treat, haven't they? We're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, we're going to head straight back out onto the track.
Welcome back to Snetterton, here with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, the second race of the pre-93 and pre-2003 touring cars on the grid based on the results of the first race. David Griffin and Stephen Pearson on the front row in their BMWs ahead of Alex A.J. Owen, but a great start by Andy Cripps from the second row of the grid in the green BMW. He's up into second place behind David Griffin as they head into Riches for the first time. Poor start by Stephen Pearson there. He could be down to 5th behind A.J. Owen's Honda and Mike Dugdale's BMW. But it is David Griffin who leads down to Wilson's hairpin for the first time, chased by Cripps side by side the third, Dugdale and Owen, then Stephen Pearson, then the Rovers of championship leader David Nixon, Kaylee Twigger, she's side by side with Andy Sheraton. Slightly reduced field for this one, a couple of cars suffering problems earlier on. We haven't got Ian Bauer's BMW, he broke down in the first race. Michael Seaborn's Jaguar not out, and David Howard's Jaguar not making it out for this one either, unfortunately. Leaders head into Agostini. Dugdale under fire from the Rovers. There's Andy Sheraton, the Laser Tools liveried E30 shape BMW. Kaylee Twigger running her Rover a bit wide there. Next in the order, Andrew Smith with his Honda Civic. Similar machine of Steve Barber behind him. We haven't got Simon Beamons, I don't think, in this one either. We'll check that in a moment. So I didn't see him initially on the grid. David Griffin leads the way then in the BMW, ahead of the similar machine of Andy Cripps. They head through Williams Corner and up towards the Bentley Straights. Three cars fighting for second. In green, it's Andy Cripps. In red, it's the pre-03 leader, AJ Owen, so he doesn't really need to fight the BMWs here. Stephen Pearson coming back through after a slow start. So your leader is David Griffin, the Aussie replica BMW. Diet Coke cars so dominant in Australian super touring racing in the mid-1990s. Andy Cripps still holding off AJ Owen in the Honda Civic for second place as they go towards the back straight once again. Owen's got his headlights on, but as we say, he doesn't need to take on the BMWs. He's not only in a different class, he's in a different championship, the simply serviced pre-03 touring cars. Simon Beamons, I can tell you, is out there, in fact. I just missed him out of the grid call over at the start. The right-hander they come at Nelson, towards the bomb hole where the circuit drops down, you can see there, and up towards Coram. Andy Cripps still holding off AJ Owen for second place. BMW versus Honda. BMW versus Honda, a regular feature of the British Touring Car Championship as well. Stephen Pearson has got through and very sideways there. Andy Cripps, he's going to spin it over the curbs, I think. No, he somehow managed to save it. A bit of rally crossing there from Andy Cripps, but he's lost out to Owen. He's lost out to Mike Dugdale as well, I think, there. That was a leery moment through Murray's Corner for Andy Cripps. Managed to save it, but he's lost a lot of ground. Comes through behind Mike Dugdale in the BMW in fifth place. Then we've got the two Rovers. Stephen Pearson recovering from his poor start, up into second now and trying to chase down David Griffin. Two BMW E36 M3s. Most successful touring cars of all time. The BMW M3, of course, its various guises. Mike Dugdale has been caught by the recovering Andy Cripps after that moment at Murray's. Here are the two Rovers. David Nixon raced all manner of cars with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club over the years, leading Kaylee Twigger as Andy Cripps goes through at Agostini, back up into fourth position. Mike Dugdale tries to attack back again on the exit. Very evenly matched cars, these two Beamers. Andy Cripps managing to stay ahead, but he twitches over the curves. He's gone wide again. Just about manages to hang on in front of Mike Dugdale. He may get picked up for exceeding track limits for that. Taking a few liberties there. Andy Cripps pushing a little bit too hard. You can get a time penalty if you exceed the limits of the circuit too many times. Andy Cripps won't want that on his recovery drive. Behind the Rovers, incidentally, we have now got the escort of Simon Beamons, the simply serviced car. Nobody ahead of David Griffin. He's heading for victory surely now. Clear of Stephen Pearson in the battle of the BMWs at front. AJ Owen, looks like he's got pre-03 victory pretty much sewn up. The main battle is between Cripps and Dugdale for fourth overall. Into the closing stages of this second race of the weekend for the Laser Tools pre-93 touring cars, the simply serviced pre-2003 touring cars. Mike Dugdale's not finished yet, still attacking Andy Cripps in the BMW. There's the black and white diagonal flag, that's the driving standards flag, and that's often shown when a driver has been exceeding track limits. I wouldn't be surprised if that's for Andy Cripps in 33, just as a warning. He won't get a penalty unless it's repeat offences. Staying ahead of Mike Dugdale, while David Griffin is heading for his second victory of the day. It's been a near perfect weekend. He's appeared in the classic Thunder Saloons as well. We'll see him out in the next race. Busy weekend for the Aussie in the BMW. The Beamers for fourth place, still headed by Andy Cripps. The other classes further back, led by Kaylee Twigger now in her Rover. She's ahead of David Nixon. Simon Beamons leading his class in the pre-03s in the Escort. Andy Sheraton's BMW and Andy Smith in his Honda Civic. All leading their classes further back, looking for championship points. Ahead of the next round coming up at Silverstone in October. Here's David Griffin into Brundle Corner. It's the right-hand swing at Nelson. Dugdale's not finished yet, still attacking Andy Cripps for fourth place. Let's go around the outside there. Dugdale, like Stephen Pearson, has been a regular in the Project 8's and Saloon series over the years, among others. Sponsored by Toyo Tyres. Randy Cripps, regular race at Brands Hatch in their Saloon series over the years, expanding his horizons with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, as so many drivers have over the last couple of years. Great to see much bigger grid sizes over the last few years. Checkered flag goes out. It's a double win for David Griffin. Stephen Pearson will take second, and he's got the fastest lap as well. Third, it will be AJ Owen, the winner of the pre-03 touring cars. Here's this battle for fourth. Who's going to be fourth between the two BMWs? They are in the same class as our top two finishers here, so they won't get a class win out of it, but they're determined to battle all the way to the line. Andy Cripps moving to defend. He's sliding about there again at Murray's. Maybe should take up the sport of drifting, who knows? Looks like he's going to stay ahead of Mike Dugdale, though, to take fourth overall, and that'll be third in class for Andy Cripps. Good race with Mike Dugdale there for fourth place overall. Dugdale takes fifth. Wait to see who's next through. Here comes Andy Sheraton with his Laser Tools BMW. He's heading for a class win, as is Simon Beamont in the Escort RS2000 Maxi. So more famous as a rally car. That's a model of Escorts. He's going to win his class. David Griffin takes the overall win, though, ahead of Stephen Pearson by nearly 4 seconds. AJO in the pre-03 winner in third, ahead of Cripps and Dugdale, the battling Beamers. Kaylee Twigger a fine sixth overall in her Rover. Simon Beamont seventh in the Escort, and Andy Sheraton takes eighth. All those three win their classes. So let's hear once again from David Griffin, our double race winner.
David, I did say to you, I've got a feeling I might be talking to you again today, didn't I? And here we are. Congratulations. You've got a big smile on your face.
Yeah, I think I said I wouldn't fluff the next start, and I think I fluffed that one as well. So it was good to get the win in the end. It was pretty greasy out there, and the temperatures got up a bit high on the tyres, I think, so it was a bit slippery. But as long as you don't make the mistake when you're leading.
That's it, true. A lot of oil's gone down over the weekend, hasn't it? But yeah, it's you managed to get it home, you managed to take it up, and it did look relatively comfortably.
Yeah, it always looks a lot more comfortable than it actually is, but the boys at West Suffolk have built a beautiful car. Like, even when you're out there on your own just driving laps, you can put it exactly where you want it all the time. It's a superb bit of engineering.
Rolling start for the second race of the day for the Classic Thunder Saloons and the Blue Oval Saloon Series. Andy Robinson and Dan Brown, the top two from race one, on the front row of the grid. Piers Grange, the leading Blue Oval Saloon. Down towards Riches they go. The sun starts to set here at Snetterton. It's Dan Brown who's made a good start. The Sierra Cosworth has gone into the lead from the outside the front row up towards Wilson's hairpin. Andy Robinson on his tail, trying to go around the outside in the big Aussie V8 supercar Ford Falcon. He's gone too deep there. Could lose out to David Griffin. That man in the BMW is there again. Through come the midfielders. Ricky Can there in the Aston Martin, just ahead of Colin Claxton's Escort. Seen Colin out in his Triumph Dolomite this weekend as well. Vincent second, Griffin third, Sean Brown fourth. Paul Hand in the Audi TT is fifth, ahead of Steve Dance. A better start in the Capri this time. Bit of smoke there. Looks like a rubbing tyre for Colin Claxton, so maybe he's had some contact off the line. And ahead of Steve Dance, then Clive Hainsford. Then the BMW of Stephen Pearson. A few names to look out for coming through from the back in this one after problems earlier. There's Andy Wilson in the Holden Monaro, Jim Janicki as well in the Nissan Skyline. But it's Dan Brown in his Ford Sierra Cosworth RS500 who leads. Sean Brown going for third as well. Good effort by the Brown brothers in this one early on. There's Janicki ahead of Wilson, trying to tow their way through the field. Dan Brown with the lead, chased by Andy Robinson, both in the same class, Classic Thunder Class A. Class C is led by David Griffin in the BMW. Battling with Sean Brown in his Escort Mark 1. Escort Mark 1s in this race, of course, not all in the same class because they're in various states of tune. Brown fighting back there on the tail of David Griffin for third overall and the lead of the class. Class B of the Thunder cars is led by Paul Hand's Audi TT. Next in the order in fifth, there's Brown at the inside. Sean, that is, to take David Griffin at Coram. Brave move there. Andy Robinson on the tail of Dan Brown. I love the yellow headlamps on the Ford Falcon. It's Hand, Steve Dance in that gorgeous Mark 1 Capri. He's raced that with the Heritage Touring Car Challenge, among other things, over the years. Across the line they go. Behind Steve Dance is Clive Hainsford, then Colin Voice, Stephen Pearson. Looks like Toyota Starman possibly next in the order of Steve Waterman. Side by side for the lead. Robinson briefly got his nose in front there, but lost out to Brown. He had the inside for the hairpin. It's Jim Janicki next in the order behind Stephen Pearson. The Skyline having come through well. This is a good effort by Dan Brown, looking for what I think will be his first Classic Thunder Saloon win. He can hold off the might of Andy Robinson in that big Aussie V8 supercar Ford Falcon. It's not until you stand next to an Aussie V8 supercar you realise just how huge the things are. Of course, it's been Ford Falcons and Holden Commodores in recent years in V8 supercars. The Falcon now superseded by the Ford Mustang in Australia. We've also seen the likes of Nissan and Mercedes represented in the series in the last few years. Volvo as well with Scott McLaughlin. Further back in the order, Ricky Can passing Jim Janicki in the Skyline. I think he might be in trouble again. Trouble in qualifying and the first race. That's a great shame. Colin Voice in the Escort under fire from Stephen Pearson's BMW. He goes through at the bottom hole. Chasing Martin Reynolds. His Mark Escort here this weekend. Also in there is Clive Hainsford, the Blue Oval Saloon leader, which is once again Piers Grange in the silver Escort there in the background. Change for the lead up front. Andy Robinson has got through at Riches. Robinson into the lead this time through. Raced by Dan Brown. Hamilton in the northeast of England. Up front once again, a real V8 engine specialist. Brown catching in the Sierra, trying to chase him down. Fords of differing generations here. Side by side almost on the run into Brundle this time, but Robinson hanging on in front. Owns a couple of these Ford Falcons, this one liveried as Craig Lowndes, the other one as the Shell Helix car of the 1990s, run by the great Dick Johnson and John Bow. I don't know if Andy's ever raced in Australia though. Dan Brown's raced across Europe in his collection of classic Fords, as has his brother Sean. On the curbs there on the outside goes Craig Lowndes, aka Andy Robinson. Well ahead of their opposition now, these two. Andy Wilson has come through the field up into third place. We said the Holden will be one to watch. The big Valvoline livering Monaro up into third place ahead of David Griffin now. Sean Brown fifth, Steve Dance in sixth place. Paul Hand in the Audi TT has slipped to seventh. Still leading his class. Stephen Pearson, Clive Hainsford and Colin Boyce leading his class, rounding out the top 10. Blue Oval leader is still Piers Grange ahead of Martin Reynolds. Third in that split is Colin Claxton's Escort Mark 1, despite that bit of damage to the front end we saw earlier. Here's Clive Hainsford, we've got a glimpse of him further back ahead of Colin Voice. Frank Rodber's BMW is being lapped. It's out of the way, lets the leaders through. There's smoke there, that's Colin Claxton. Left front tyre, I think, the right front tyre, sorry, is rubbing on the bodywork. I think is what's causing that bit of smoke. Colin's still pressing on. He will win Class D of the Blue Oval Saloons if he keeps going. The championship points here, the blue flag being shown to warn him. The leaders are coming up to lap him, he lets them through. Clock has counted down to 0, so we're on the last lap now of this Clyde Edmundson Electrical Classic Thunder Saloon Championship and Burton Power Blue Oval Saloon Series race. Forwards from the Thunder Saloons up front. Andy Robinson holding off Dan Brown. Had a good scrap, these two. Brown leading the early laps. Coming up on Tony Palmer's Escort Mark 1 to put a lap on him. A bit of smoke from Andy Robinson's Ford Falcon, but he's almost home. Up towards Coram for the last time. Lets the leaders through. It is going to be a win for Andy Robinson in the big Falcon for the second time today. This will put him into the Classic Thunder points lead as well. Erstwhile points leader Josh Ronchetti not here this weekend. Checkered flag is at the ready. It's going to be 2 from 2 for the Ford Falcon. Robinson takes it, Brown second. They are well clear of their opposition. Dominance from the two big Fords then. That's, I think, what put Andy Robinson into the Classic Thunder points lead as he looks for another title. Still a few battles going on further down the order. Stephen Pearson's got ahead of Paul Hand. The LETT slowing in the last couple of laps. Behind them, Clive Hainsford renewing his rivalry with Colin Boyce. In the Mark 1 Escort, there is the rotary engine Mazda RX-8. A very modified Mazda RX-8, I should say. Very much in the Thunder Saloon tradition. Colin Boyce in the Escort behind him. As the finishers come home, there's Sean Brown over the line in 5th. It was Wilson 3rd ahead of Griffin. Confirm the official result in a moment, of course. Next home we have Steve Dance in the Mark 1 Capri. Stephen Pearson will lead home Paul Hand. The top 10 will be completed by Clive Hainsford, who is going to hold off Colin Boyce for 9th place. Great stuff from the Thunder and Blue Oval Saloons. Andy Robinson, the winner, by just over a second ahead of Dan Brown. 20 seconds clear of Andy Wilson, coming through from the back of the grid to take 3rd ahead of David Griffin. Sean Brown's Escort 5th ahead of Steve Dance in the Capri. Stephen Pearson 7th ahead of Paul Hand. Dan Brown got the fastest lap. 18 cars going the distance. Thunder and Blue Ovals.
That was a lot harder that time, as you can probably see.
But you're all smart. Look how happy you are. Come on.
Well, Dan was pretty clever at the start there. It took us a long time to get past. I just had to follow and work out where I was better. Totally different cars, strong and good and bad points. So I knew I was quicker than him round Cowan, but he wasn't giving up. He was ready for another go there.
Final race of the weekend for the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, the Pre-83 Group 1 touring cars and the Poultec Pre-66s. David Howard on pole alongside Mark Lucock in the Escort. It's Lucock making a good start in the Blue Escort. Had that photo finish for the 2nd place in the class win with Stephen Primet in race 1. They race off into the sunset. David Howard with the Jaguar takes the early lead. Our earlier Pre-66 winner Jonathan Lewis, incidentally a non-starter, so the Ford Falcon of Alan Greenall will lead the Pre-66s early on. Side by side for the lead into the hairpin for the first time. It is 55 David Howard in the Jaguar who's got the early lead. There's Greenall in the Ford Falcon. Minis battling further back. Martin Reynolds in the Anglia could be in with a shout of Pre-66 honours as well. It's Howard who leads from Lucock, Primet and Mike Luck, the points leader overall in the BMW in 4th place. Beaten by the Escorts in his class in race 1 though. Good start by David Margulies in the Alfa Romeo from 8th on the grid up into 5th position ahead of Mark Chullerton. Again struggling to get the Escort off the line. There's Greenall leading the Pre-66s in the Falcon. Good start by Al Wayman as well, the big CAD-Art sponsored Chevy Camaro ahead of the Mini there, number 7 Kevin Bottomley. Nathan Williams Mini ahead of Martin Reynolds. Then we've got Patrick Harris in the Morris Minor. Mark Chullerton passes David Margulies, the Lavant Garage liveried Alfa Romeo. So it's the car that Andy Rouse, the touring car legend, won the 1983 British Saloon Car Championship in. So called touring cars until 87. Howard in the British Leyland liveried Jaguar leads the way. It's 1980 that the Jaguar XJ, the XJ Coupe it was then, not the Saloon, was raced in international touring cars. Jonathan Corker has dropped back a bit off the line in the little Datsun 510 there, in behind Pete Winstone in number 128. We saw him there, the Ford Anglia, the ex-hot rod racer. Alan Greenall, there he is, leads the Pre-66 split. David Howard under fire for the lead though. Mark Lucock at the inside, he's going through. Great effort by Mark Lucock, out breaking the Jag into Williams Corner onto the Bentley straights. And the Jaguar does tend to cook its brakes as the race goes on. It's a big, heavy beast. It's got the straight line speed though, and he's back in the lead, David Howard. Brute force, brute power of the Jag, outpacing the more nimble Ford Escorts. Same as the Falcon and the Minis in the Pre-66 division. Howard from Lucock. It's Primet in 3rd place, the former champion. Mike Luck in 4th place in the BMW. Mark Lucock and Mike Luck with the commentator's nightmare, that one. But Mark Lucock isn't having a nightmare. He's all over the back of the big Jaguar here, and Stephen Primet's going to go up the inside as well. Look how close they are as they go through Coram. Somehow David Howard is hanging on in the lead, but maybe not for much longer because Mark Lucock's going to have the inside line for the left-hander at Murray's on the brakes. He's going through. Superb move by Mark Lucock, back into the lead in the Mark 1 Escort. This is brilliant stuff. Mike Luck moving up now as well in the BMW. 5 of them for the lead here because we've got Stephen Primet and Another car in behind them there. Mark Cholerton has moved up in the Mark II Escort. He's side by side with Primetz. Primetz lost out to Mike Luck in the orange BMW. 5 alive for the lead in the sunset at Snetterton. David Howard in the Jaguar leads. Mark Lucock at the outside. Jaguar having retaken the lead on the straights. He's got the power in a straight line, David Howard, but the Escort is the better handling machine. They're going to try it again as they come into Murray's here. Mark Lucock's again got the inside line on the brakes, just avoids locking up, and he's through again. He's got that down to a fine art now. This is great stuff from Mark Lucock, superb in the Mark 1 Escort. Now can David Howard out-drag him once again as they come up over the start-finish line? He certainly will. The Jag powers back ahead. It's almost 3 wide for third place. Mark Cholerton has come through at the line into third position. There's still 5.5 minutes of this race to go. Best race of the weekend, save for last. David Howard from Mark Lucock. These two have pulled away very slightly now, just over a second clear of the third place battle. Mike Luck back up the inside in the BMW to take third place from Mark Cholerton. Behind them, Stephen Primetz. It's unusual to see him down as low as 5th overall. Really dominating proceedings up front along with David Howard, but he's met his match this season, Stephen Primetz, multiple times champion. Mike Luck wants to catch Mark Lucock here to try and take the Class C victory. He's being made to work. Look at Mark Cholerton snaking around under braking there, really working the Escorts. Here's our pre-66 leader, Alan Greenall. He's back in 8th overall in the big Ford Falcon. Second in pre-66 is Kevin Bottomley's Mini, and Nathan Williams in his Mini in third. Somebody kicking up the dust there. That was David Howard, and he's lost momentum there on the run into Oggies. Lucock goes through. Wondering if the brakes are starting to go off in the Jag. He's lost out there to Lucock once again. He's got to use the power of the Jag now to try and out-drag him along the straights. But look at Mike Luck, he's kicking up the dust now on the outside of the exit of Williams. David Howard, he's not closing here on Mark Lucock, I should say, in the Escort as much as he was. Mike Luck holding third place. Primetz back up into fourth. Cholerton, who was sliding about earlier in this lap, has gone down to 5th. And they're coming up on back markers now. The number 26 driven by Stephen Evans in this race being lapped, the Austin A40. Also going to lap down Keith Wright in his Morris Minor. Less than 3 minutes to go now, and Mark Lucock has pulled away in the Escorts from David Howard. Got his headlights on, possibly toward the back markers that he's coming, and possibly because the light is fading here at Snetterton. It's a lovely late summer day. Just a little bit as they go into Agostini. Privet back up into fourth in the white Escort ahead of Mark Cholerton's Mark II version. A bit of smoke from Mark Cholerton there, really pushing that car hard. Just between these 5 now at the front of the field, coming up to start their final lap this time through, I would think. Mark Lucock is pulling away here. He's got to put as much daylight between himself and David Howard as he can for the overall victory. Here's a battle further back. David Margulies in the Alfa Romeo, and Jonathan Corker's little Datsun 510 recovering after a poor start. They're fighting for 6th overall. Behind them, Alan Greenall and Tom Harvey in the Falcon and the Escort. He's got ahead of the Alfa Romeo now. It's still Lucock with the lead. They'll be coming round to start the final lap this time. David Howard has dropped back here in the Jaguar. He'll have to work really hard to catch back up to Mark Lucock around the last lap of this race. Still third, it's the BMW of Mike Luck. Out of Murray's they come towards the centre straight. Mark Lucock, you can see the gap he's put between himself and David Howard in the Jag, and in fact the checkered flag is going to go out a lap early. And the reason for that is, well, Mark Lucock will take the win, and we seem to have lost Mike Luck there on the final corner in the BMW, so he's had a problem. But the checkered flag goes out a lap early because we have reached curfew here at Snetterton, unfortunately. Here comes that's the BMW. Yes, it is. Mike Luck finishes back in 5th. He must have had a moment on the final corner there. The Mark Lukoff takes the win. The race ends a lap early because of the circuit curfew here at Snetterton, unfortunately, so we won't get to see if David Howard would have caught Mark Lukoff, who takes the overall win. Howard will win his class in second. Chollerton third ahead of Primet. Alan Greenall just monstering his way past a couple of back markers there as he wins the 366 touring car category. Back markers Stephen Evans in Brian Bedford's Austin A40, Keith Wright in the Morris Minor. Well, the result then, Mark Lukoff the winner ahead of David Howard. It was Chollerton third ahead of Stephen Primet, and Mike Luck with the moments on the last lap has to settle for fifth. Jonathan Corker sixth in the Datsun ahead of David Margulies in the Alfa Romeo. 366 winner Alan Greenall finishes 8th overall.
Congratulations, first over the line. It was going toe to toe with David there, two Murrays, weren't you?
Obviously, it's like, Goliath and Tiger, isn't it, or whatever. But basically, obviously he's got the legs on me. I was much quicker through the middle bit.
Yeah.
He was playing it quite defensive, and that allowed me to get him on the exit and just build up a gap. And then he was concentrating on the other guys. And I thought if they keep messing about, it gives me a chance to pull away, which is basically what happened, isn't it?
Fantastic stuff. You're pretty happy with that? You've got to be delighted,
I'm
right?
delighted with that, yeah, considering the last two race meetings where I didn't really finish at all, so it's fantastic.
Well, we've seen some magnificent racing this weekend, haven't we, for the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. I really, really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We're going to have to head off now, but until next time, drive safely.